Guys, happy Monday, everybody. So, apparently, if this story is true about Njugush signing on his property over to his parents or mom or dad, I feel like it's a very mean and selfish thing to do. Because, number one, I feel like they started off, because we already know they started off together with nothing. Everybody came 0-0. So it's like you're trying to scam the other person off their rightful share. Not forgetting there are 2 kids involved in the whole saga, right? Let me tell you one thing. I feel like even parents of nowadays are too materialistic. I know people are celebrating and saying, oh, how smart is that and everything. But let me tell you something. You can think that you are playing smart or you're being smart, trying to scam somebody off their rightful share of things they contributed towards. And guess what? You won't get to enjoy those things yourself. You end up being sick. You end up even being knocked by a vehicle. You end up getting a big disease. Like, life is so unpredictable, you know? You end up not enjoying even everything you thought you'd enjoy. You thought you'd scam that person out of their rightful share, and yet they contributed. You think you're smart, but God is smarter. There is a God in heaven, guys. There is a God in heaven who is just. God is very just, by the way. So, and one thing you need to know, that tears is like witchcraft. Maidori netorogi. You know, in Kikuyu we say maidori neorogi. When people cry over things you have done to them, my friend, you're going to pay. Because what God does, he collects all those tears into a jar. And they have to be repaid. Here on earth, not in heaven. In heaven tutapewa mwili mpya. In heaven is another brand new story. Also, I wanted to talk to parents who accept that kind of scamming or conmanship. You know, I don't think it's the right thing to do when your son comes and tells you, oh, you know, all the property are under your name because I don't want to share anything with my ex. And especially if there are kids involved. Remember, those properties, you guys were gathering them because of the kids, of the future of the kids. You don't want kids going through what you guys went through. So, when you are accepting those, you are as bad as the person who's doing it. Because you are conning, yeah? You need to tell your son, no, I don't think this is correct. And whatever that she needs it for the kids. And I feel like you need to give it to her or him, because at the end of the day, kids are involved. It's a very delicate, sensitive topic, especially when kids are involved. So those celebrating and calling Njugush a hero, to me, he's not a hero if it is true. But if it is a lie, then well and good, because you're supposed to share things equally. And especially if that person contributed, remember, they might leave you with those things, and then those things you won't get to enjoy. Because the issue is, once you go to court and start fighting over that property, remember, you're using money to hire a lawyer. The other party also is doing the same. So you end up losing the properties. The properties end up going with the lawyers. Yet you could have amicably sat down and said, you know, you take this, I take that, and the kids take this, and story kwisha, finished. You know, like normal, regular, honest people. That's what normal, regular, honest people do. But if you want to be a scammer, or you pretend to be smarter than the other person, remember, that person will go into their sacred place. It doesn't matter if they cheated, if they didn't cheat. It doesn't affect anyone. long as you are being unjust to the other person, know that you are doing wrong. Yeah, doesn't matter whether they cheated or they didn't cheat. It's not relevant at this point, because kids are involved. Kids are innocent. They did not make applications to come into this world. They did not write, oh, I need you to give birth to me. No, you guys brought them onto this world, and you know, with the economy, things are tough. So everyone is trying to, you know, secure the future of your kids. So don't think you're smart, guys, because I know many men now will start doing the same, because they saw, oh, Hakimi did it, or this other TikToker, I don't know, he's the one who talks like this, like that, because that's what that young man also did. You're not being smart. At the end of the day, with kids involved, you are collecting a lot of negative. You know, life is spiritual, and when someone goes into a corner and cries out of pain and cries to the Lord, you know, the universe will always come back. Karma never misses an address. So guys, men who are thinking that that's the way to go, it's not the way to go. Yeah, be rightful, be just, be free. We are not in this world so long, you know. People think that maybe they are the ones who will be the last in this world, kama rocks. They think they'll be the ones now being left to enjoy that property. Yeah, that's why you see some people killing others because of property, and then later you're knocked off by a car. You know, you don't know how the world works. You don't know how God works. There is a higher power out there watching out for people, and especially when someone is justly crying for their rightful share, be very concerned. Yeah, follow me if you have